Howdy! For 50 days, Ryan Trahan and his wife Haley are going to all of the 50 states to raise money for St. Jude, and I am tagging along and reading a book that happens in each state that they go to. And today, what an episode on Ryan's channel, you guys. If you saw the previous video, I think they were in New Jersey. Dr. Mike showed up, he donated, the Wheel of Doom was fun, and for the first time in the series, they landed on the split on their way to New York. So today's book has got to be set in New York, and I have quite the stack I am ready to put right up here for you guys to see all the books. If you guys haven't watched Ryan's videos yet, definitely go watch his series, get caught up. I've already spoiled some for you. Another big spoiler I'm about to say, just because the episode was so awesome. The split, oof. The split didn't know what was coming, y'all. The split thought it was gonna like do a lot, but then Mike and Brianna, the split's greatest enemy, showed up. That was awesome. So cool. For the New York book, the stack. Here we go. In no particular order. There we go. All of those. 9 books at least. This was just me kind of perusing in my library. I didn't even check the audiobooks and the ebooks that I have read because this is quite a bit. First, I'll say the book I'm choosing for the whole state is One Tuesday Morning by Kingsbury. This is the first of a trilogy. So all of these happen in New York, and because this is the book that I am choosing, I will save talking about these for last. I will do my best to talk about these quickly. If you've been watching my videos so far, some of these might look familiar. I thought I would just bring them back so you guys know that they can work for New York books also, in case you guys are wanting to do a 50 state 50 book challenge and you might want to pick one of these for your New York. First one here, we have Martha Washington by Patricia Brady. I talked about this in the Virginia video because of course this primarily happens in Virginia, but because George Washington spent so much time in New York, this of course also happens in New York. Becoming Mrs. Lewis. This is about C.S. Lewis's wife. I read this a couple years ago, lots of books ago, but this is really cool. C.S. Lewis's wife, Joy, lived in New York. So a lot of this book happens in England, but a lot of it also happens in New York. The Voice We Find. This one, someone could argue, wouldn't count as a New York book. The main character, Sophie, lived in New York for many years, I think 10. And then she moved back to her home in California. So this book pretty much happens entirely in California, but her friend Dana lives in New York, and her friend Dana was in the book sometimes, so New York was an element in here. I'll let you guys decide if it should count as a New York book or not, but it was so good. I know I won't be picking this book for California, which is where the book mainly takes place in. And this book was so good, I thought it deserved to at least be featured in 2 videos, so here we go. It's not going to be a pick, but it was that good. When you get the chance, this is a young adult romance about this girl here. What was her name again? Millie. She wants to be a Broadway star. Her dad was my favorite character in this book. He was a Lord of the Rings fan, single dad. Lots of theatrical references in here and super cute. When the Day Comes by Gabriel Meyer. I have mentioned this in quite a few videos already, but cannot say it enough. This is my favorite book series ever. Libby's life happens in Virginia in the 1700s and New York in the 1900s. So this can count as Virginia or New York. I talked a lot more about this in Virginia and even a bit in Maryland, so if you want to know more about this awesome time travel romance, y'all can check out that video or Goodreads. And lastly, before we get to the official pick, we have Remember by Kingsbury. This is book 2 of her first Baxter series. I think she might call the first one, yeah, the Redemption series. So this is book 2. Reading book 1 is pretty important, but this one does have a lot to do with 9/11 because this character, who is kind of the spotlight in this book, Ashley, her love interest is a firefighter and he is in New York during the time of 9/11. So that's a big part of this one. Now for the main event, the main chosen book, One Tuesday Morning, Beyond Tuesday Morning, and what was originally called Remember Tuesday Morning, but this edition is Every Now and Then. It's part of the trilogy. I'm picking this one as it is the first book of the trilogy and my absolute favorite. This was one of my top 5 reads of 2024. I love this series so much, I painted the edges. So this side is kind of boring, it's just the blue water. And then this side is the blue sky, and it has a little plane on it, mostly because I think I messed up something on the top. So improvisation. And then of course we have the 2 towers there. So yeah, this is one of the few books so far that I have painted the edges myself, and I love it. What it's about, we have a situation of doppelgangers and amnesia, firefighters. I remember I saw this at Half Price Books. I read the back cover and I knew that my grandma loved Karen Kingsbury and I wanted to pick out one of her books to read, and this was one of the first books that I got, not the first one that I read, one of the first ones. And when I read the back cover, I was like, oh wow, this sounds really interesting. Like this dude, he survives 9/11, but he gets amnesia, and when his wife finds him and he goes back home, he starts to try to remember his life before getting amnesia, and in the process, he learns about his faith, and his wife, who didn't have the same faith that he did, also comes to believe in Jesus, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That sounds really interesting. So I pick it up and I start reading. I didn't even read this little like subtitle thing in the front, which gives a whole other aspect of the entire story. It says, a devoted fireman and a driven businessman, strangers with the same face, doppelganger. Only one will leave the Twin Towers alive, but will he ever find his way home? Gotta love the drama, right? So basically, you have doppelgangers, 2 doppelgangers go in and only one survives. And I don't think this is a spoiler because, I mean, it's kind of, you kind of realize that's what's going on pretty early, is that the wife who thinks her fireman husband survived, well, it was not her husband, it was the guy that looked like her husband. But they go on for a long time thinking that it's her husband who had amnesia, obviously. And so y'all, it's crazy. I thought it was better than While You Were Sleeping. Because also this has faith elements in it. And what's so cool is like the doppelganger who isn't the fireman, seeing him learn about the fireman who he thinks he is and who he thinks his wife is, and their daughter is not her, you know what I mean? It's just amazing, and the ending made me sob a lot. It's a good ending, it's a sad ending, but I'll just give you a slight, just like no context spoiler that in book 2 things get happier, okay? I mean, it's a happy-ish ending, maybe bittersweet is better. Like I said, I was sobbing, okay? This book, we get happier endings in book 2. I cannot say enough good things about One Tuesday Morning. I haven't read a lot of 9/11 books, but I have a feeling that this one is going to remain my favorite for a very, very long time. Now for books 2 and 3, I liked them, but I did not adore them like this first one. The second one I loved a lot because the romance that was in it, yes, just, I loved it. And I liked that we got to see more of the fireman's wife, like her life after 9/11 and kind of the recovery or just things after. I don't know how to explain it really. It was just nice to see more of the after effects after book 1. These 2 were definitely my favorite. This one was my least favorite because I should have mentioned her name way earlier. The fireman's wife's name is Jamie. And the businessman who wasn't the fireman that looked like the fireman who lived, his name's Eric. So Eric and Jamie, they, you know, they survive. And they're basically not in this book. I mean, they are, but they're not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about them. And that's why this one was my least favorite. It's about, I think the guy's name is Alex. This guy, I'm pretty sure his name is Alex. And his dad died in 9/11 and was basically really upset about that, and growing up without a dad really affected him and all that. He ends up moving to California, so this also mainly happens in California. But because it was all about Alex and not about Jamie or Eric or even some of the other characters that we got to love from the first 2 books, I just wasn't really interested in it. Now, Alex, he's friends with Jamie and Eric and some of the other characters, so you do see them around. They're just such side characters, and not even like side characters that get a lot of screen time, in my opinion. This was definitely Alex's book, and I think his love interest name was Holly, so it was about her a lot too. And it was good. I just wanted more Jamie, you know what I mean? So that is my New York book pick, along with all the books I have read set in New York. Louisiana, I had 13 books. I realized though that I didn't have Gospeller by Willie Robertson in that stack, so it's actually at like 14. I don't know if I came up with a 15th Louisiana book, but I'm actually kind of surprised that New York beat out Louisiana in number of books. In which case, I believe so far, New York is in the lead for the amount of books that I have read in a state. So that's interesting. I know I've had my predictions in the past that I think California is going to win, but since then I've done some thinking. There is a massive series that I read that happens in Chicago. So I think Illinois is going to be the crowned winner. I will be surprised if Illinois isn't the winner by the end of this challenge. As for a fun fact for the state, this isn't New York specific, but it is something that I learned when reading One Tuesday Morning. Other tidbits of information about what happens when there's fire many floors up. I have been in tall buildings a lot in my life, and I never considered a lot of the things that were covered in this book. The main one that really blew my mind was just trying to fathom the fact that if the fires were on floor 60, which there were more than 60 floors, but if the fires were on floor 60 and it took the firefighters a minute to get to each floor, it would take them an hour to get to floor 60. That's if they maintained a minute per floor, which is insanity because you have multiple guys going up those staircases, you have the crowds that are trying to escape, they're carrying a lot of equipment so they can, you know, actually put out the fire, not to mention all the equipment that is keeping them protected from the fire, all the stuff that they have to lug for 60 floors. And obviously there's the whole, you know, after about, I don't know, 10 floors, you're starting to get a little tired, or you might not have the same stamina that you did, you know, 5 floors ago, 10 floors ago, 20 floors ago. There were a lot of things in the book that I hadn't considered. I learned stuff. It's time to rank One Tuesday Morning by Karen Kingnsbury. If you don't know, a part of Ryan and Haley's challenge is that they're trying to find the best Airbnb in America. So they're ranking all of the Airbnbs that they're staying in which case I am ranking all of the books that I am picking for the 50 states to find the best book in America. Because I am reading such a wide range of books, I have 4 categories: adult fiction, adult nonfiction, youth fiction, and nonfiction. This of course falls under adult fiction, and currently number 1 in adult fiction is When the Day Comes by Gabriel Meyer. Swing, right there. And that one is going to stay in the number 1 slot. I adored this book. I can't say that enough, but you have time travel romance, okay? Not to mention just, you guys, if have a little ick yick yick moment. I just learned this year what the IYKYK thing means. For the longest time, I never knew what it meant, and I just pronounced it ick yick yick, and I didn't know what it meant. But Mama and Hallie told me it's if you know, you know. I was like, oh, how funny, I didn't know, but now I do. So for this one, just all I'm gonna say there, ick yick yick, you know what I'm saying? So that's staying number 1 for the adult fiction. Honestly, I think the only book I've ever read that could outdo that one is Redeeming Love, but that's set in California, so we'll see what happens. Now for the overall ranking, this is wild to me, okay? So the second book of the Timeless series, When the Day Comes, is in this moment, and that's currently number 2 overall. I think I might put this one higher than that. I think this is gonna go in the number 2 slot. It's crazy to me because a lot of people liked Timeless Book 2 more than the first one. I liked 3 better. I think I might have even liked 5 better than 2. So while I loved 2, obviously, I'm gonna put One Tuesday Morning number 2 overall. I loved Timeless Book 2. It was amazing, but for me, I think the emotion of One Tuesday Morning, specifically the ending, impacted me so much. It's kind of a similar reason why When the Day Comes beats out in this moment. It just resonated with me more, specifically Libby's relationship with her marked mother. In this moment was awesome, but I don't remember there being a specific thing in it that really impacted me or caused me to grow in a certain way. This one though had me thinking. This one had me crying. This one was just crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna put this at number 2 overall. The reading strategy. I haven't shown you guys the updated map in a while in my bullet journal, but I finally added the little books for all the tiny states since we're up in there, and I needed to mark them. So yeah, that's how it's looking. It's looking so good. Oh, big news. I have been stuck on what to do for New Hampshire for a while. And yesterday, my mom found a bunch of New Hampshire books for me to choose from. So I'm currently working on 2. One is a youth nonfiction and the other is, I think it's a middle grade mystery. It's like an 8-hour audiobook. So I am working on those now. Main's book is almost at a nice amount of pages that I could read in one day. Pennsylvania, I can finish in one day. Rhode Island, I can finish in one day. What used to be the Danger Week is now looking pretty nice. Since they're in New York, I'm guessing next they'll probably go to Massachusetts, Connecticut, or Rhode Island. I have been wrong so many times, it wouldn't surprise me if I was wrong again. But I think I have a couple days to work on New Hampshire yet. So I'm feeling really good about how we're looking. I still can't believe I only have like 10 books left for this whole challenge. I know there's a lot more states than that, but I've read ahead and counted other books that I've read in the past. Point is, we're looking good. And that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you have watched Ryan's series and which Airbnb he has visited so far that is your favorite. Let me know what you are currently reading. I would love to talk book stuff in the comments down below. Oh, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but also in the description, I have a link to a poll that you guys can vote for which of the books that I have read so far is your favorite, so that by the end of this challenge, we can see what is your guys' favorite book in America. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Ciao!